So this is lecture number 2 that we are having here for SCME with chapter number 2, that is cost management. In the last lecture, we had seen traditional costing, we had seen strategic cost management, the difference between the two of them. And we had also seen the limitations or the problems that we face in traditional costing. And towards the end, we also took up some techniques of what we called as strategic cost management. And today we are going to do one of the techniques of strategic cost management. And at the same time, we will be taking up a case study or rather a question which has been an examination question, which will be a lengthy question. It is like a case study only. And we will solve it here in the class with all the calculations. So I expect you to have your calculators with you, your notebook calculator with you. So first we start with, as the chapter number 2 says, that we are going to do cost management. So in every business, what happens is, at the beginning of the period, that means beginning of the year or beginning of the financial year or the production year, the management sits down and prepares what is called as budget, which you have done in inter-CMA, budgetary control. So they prepare budgets for various departments. Budgets are prepared for the production department, for the purchase department, sales department, advertisement department, marketing department, everything. Material purchase, material cost. So quantitative budgets, qualitative budgets, everything is prepared. What is the objective behind this? The objective is that we are trying to ensure that the actual cost does not exceed the budgeted cost. So budgetary control is one of the methods which are implemented by the management. Budgetary control is implemented with the objective of ensuring that the actual costs do not exceed the estimated or budgeted cost, because every department has got a particular amount which it is allowed to spend. So no department, whether it is production department or marketing department, would like to spend more than what is allocated. So that is the objective of preparing budgets. At the end of the year, what does the company do? Company does what is called as variance analysis with the help of standard costing. That means when we prepare the budgets, we also set standards as to what should be the standard material cost, the standard labor cost, the standard material quantity, the standard labor hours. So all this was planned at the beginning. So at the end, what we do is a procedure called as variance analysis. That is with the help of standard costing. Then we also have measures for inventory control. So periodic method of inventory system, perpetual method of inventory system, regular stock taking, continuous stock taking. So these are the measures which are done by the management of a company with the objective that at the end of the year, we want to show profit. We want that the actual expenses should not exceed the budgeted expenses. And if there are expenses which are exceeding the budgeted or the standard expenses or the standard cost, and there are variances which are adverse, variances can be adverse or favorable. So the variances are adverse. Then we sit down to do variance analysis. What is the reason for that adverse variance? So that postmortem is done with the objective of finding out what is the reason behind the deviation, why the actual is more than the budgeted. Now all this is done with a simple objective that at the end of the year, I do not want my actual expenses to be more than the standard expenses or the budgeted expenses. Why? Because every company wants to make a profit. At the end of the year, when we prepare the profit and loss account, I want that my figure should be positive. I want that the figure should be a profit figure. I don't want a loss to be shown. So that is why all this is done. This entire procedure is therefore called as cost control. So what is cost control? Cost control is the numerous methods that we employ, which we are implementing, the numerous techniques that we are having, like standard costing, budgetary control, inventory control, with the objective of ensuring that at the end of the year we show a profit. So that means the objective is a short-term objective. Objective is a short-term objective, which is for a limited period of 1 year. This is cost control. That I want to maintain the actual cost within the limits set by me and my team. What is cost reduction then? Cost reduction means, as I discussed one of the techniques yesterday with you, we have a technique called as target costing, in which what I do is I find out what is the market selling price of my competitors' products. And that market selling price, from that I subtract my desired margin of profit and get what is called as target cost. So when I start manufacturing the product and I find out the cost that I'm going to incur, I want to restrict it to the target cost. Reducing the cost to meet the target cost is cost reduction. Because it is not a one-time affair. It is not with the objective of showing profit only in the current year. And at the same time, I want to ensure that my product cost is, if one of the objectives that we discussed yesterday was cost leadership. What is cost leadership? I told you that I want to reduce the cost without compromising the quality. So how to reduce the cost? It is not a one-time affair. It is not a one-time process. It is not a program, but it is a continuous process. What is the difference between a program and a process? A program is, like, for example, a singing competition is there. So that is a program. But singing practice is there. You are practicing singing on a regular basis, on a day-to-day basis. So that is a continuous process. It is a process, not a one-time program. So cost reduction is a continuous process in which we are trying to bring about a permanent reduction, not a temporary reduction, a permanent reduction in the cost of production. And the starting point of cost reduction is the ending point of cost control. That means where cost control ends, my cost reduction starts. Cost control is a temporary phase, whereas cost reduction is a permanent phase. So I try to find out means and methods of reducing the material cost without affecting the quality, of reducing the labor cost without affecting the quality, of getting the maximum returns on my capital invested in the business, of making optimum utilization of my resources available in the industry. That is what is my objective in cost reduction. So there is a difference between cost control and cost reduction. Okay, so the first point of distinction is the meaning itself. Whereas I say that cost control is the guidance and the regulation by executive action of the cost of operating an organization through methods of standard costing, budgetary control, and so on. Whereas cost reduction is a permanent reduction in the cost of the goods without affecting the quality. Cost control, I told you, methods are your budgetary control. How do budgets come into existence on the basis of past performance? So cost controlling takes into account past performance. Whereas cost reduction thinks about the present and future. to get what we desire in future, what is to be done in the present. That is cost reduction. Okay, so cost reduction is a dynamic approach to costing, whereas cost control is a conservative approach. So in this way, I can say that cost control is a preventive function. That means I try to prevent the cost from exceeding my standards or my budgets. Whereas a cost reduction is a correction. For example, I may be incurring a high material cost, not because my material consumption is more or my material price is more, but because there is a lot of wastage of material. So identifying the wastages of material and plugging those loopholes and thereby reducing the cost is cost control, is cost reduction, which is a permanent reduction, not a temporary reduction. Okay. Now, this is the first thing that we have to do. Of course, I'll come back to cost management towards the end of the syllabus because there are some important concepts to be done there. But today we will be taking up one of the techniques of strategy or strategic cost management that is called as life cycle costing. If you remember yesterday's lecture, I told you that we have different techniques of costing, like target costing was one of them, benchmarking was one of them. Likewise, we are having something called as product life cycle costing, PLCC. It means that when we decide what is going to be the cost of a product, when we fix the cost of the product and we arrive at the selling price, which should be offered to the customer, we don't look at it. See, there are some people, some businessmen who are looking at it from the short-term point of view. That I'm launching my product in the market. I'm very frightened as to whether my product will be accepted or not accepted. So I'm very cautious. So I want to ensure that each year, I'm looking at each year. Each year, when I sell my products, I make a profit. That is a short-term vision. But a good businessman would always think about the long-term perspective. And a classic example of life cycle costing has been done in recent terms by none other than Mukesh Ambani by launching his Reliance Jio. You know what was the product when it was launched? The product gave you free incoming, free outgoing, and data that you can use, unlimited data, access to unlimited data. And people were crazy. People were crazy. Did you see the frenzy in the market when Reliance Jio was launched? To the extent that Reliance Jio has reached the remotest corner of India. Even if you go in the villages, they may not have a Vodafone, they may not have Airtel, but they will have a Reliance Jio. The poorest of poor person has this Reliance Jio because when it was launched, most of the things were free and you just had to make a deposit of 2,000 rupees or so. For this particular project, Mukesh Ambani had taken loan of crores of rupees for the Reliance Jio. He had taken a loan of crores of rupees. He offered this project to the people where the services were literally free of cost, where you only had to maintain that deposit of 2,000 rupees. How much do you think he must have got as collections? This 2,000 rupees deposit was refundable, by the way. It was refundable after 2 years or 3 years. Okay? Millions of people subscribed for Reliance Jio. Now you multiply the millions of people into 2,000. Mind-boggling figures. That is just collection. You say, sir, what is the point? It is not sales. The amount of deposit is refundable. There is a catch in that. What he did was, with all that deposit that he received, he repaid his loan that he had taken for the project. So the project became loan free. Project became loan free. Then 2 years, 3 years passed. He came out with additional services for those who had subscribed for Reliance Jio. He said, I'm giving you additional benefits because you are my loyal subscribers. Those who don't want the services can take the refund and go. Refund of that 2000 rupees. Nobody asked for the refund. That is the mind of Mukesh Ambani. He knew that if you're offering these services, why will people quit? Why will people ask for refund? They'll say, we have got more than 2000 rupees. You have given us worth. You have given us value, more than 2000 rupees. Why we should refund? We should ask for the refund? We are more than happy. Give us additional benefits. And this continued. And thereafter, when he established himself in the market, he slowly started charging nominal amount, less than Vodafone, less than Airtel. People compared, hey, Vodafone, you are charging 2 rupees, we are getting the same service for 50 paise. So people did not mind, the loyal subscribers did not mind paying 50 paise for the same service which Vodafone subscriber was paying 2 rupees. So he retained the customers. Why? Because he knows that even if he is not charging the customer anything today, he can recover that amount over the life cycle of that product. Over the life cycle of that product. So who's smart enough? People who are going for short-term planning or people who have a long-term vision. So when I started with online lectures, this was started long back, many years back. Online lectures, video lectures, offered it free of cost to students. Students enjoyed because I had to establish myself in the market. There were many areas where students did not know me. For example, the South Indian market did not know. I was born and brought up in Bombay. So I was known in that side, western side, northern side. I had yet to tap the eastern market. I had yet to tap the southern market. So I offered everything free of cost. Once the students knew that quality was there, I started charging them nominal amount. They did not mind paying. In fact, they told their students, their friends, their colleagues, that service station good. And then people started subscribing, they started paying for the lectures. To this extent that the lectures were so popular that I had been called to Patna to give lectures for CA Inter Institute, CA Inter classes in the institute. I went to Patna. I found the students were, not having good faculties. So they literally lived on my lectures. They were dependent heavily on the lectures. Now I have got the Patna market, where the students are, very studious, very hardworking, but they don't have proper guidance. Many of them are poor also. So charging them a nominal amount, where others are charging 20,000, 30,000 per subject. In Bombay, one subject I only charge, not any other person. I charge. In Bombay, per subject I charge 20,000. Because the mentality in Bombay is different. The mentality elsewhere is different. The mentality in Bombay is that in Bombay there is so much of competition. Each one is charging 15,000, 18,000, 20,000. The person, who the student likes in Bombay? The person who charges the maximum. Because a person who charges the maximum, they feel, the student's mentality there is, that professor is charging 20,000, his lectures must be good, quality lectures. They don't see, they don't see. But because the pricing is high, they feel that there is some quality in that. So if I go to do some, benefit for my Bombay students and I tell them, hey, you don't pay 20,000, you come, I'll charge you 8,000, you come to me. Let's say 8,000 means that your quality is poor. That is their way of thinking. That is their way of thinking. So in Bombay market, whatever comes, at that point of time when student approaches me, whatever figure comes into my mind, I tell him that. And he's willing to be, he's happy to pay. The higher the figure you got, the better it is. You get students. But others, for example, the Patna market, students are not that rich. They are very, studious. They are hardworking. They want to study. They want to become cost accountants. They want to become chartered accountants. So you have to charge them this because you know that it is going to be a long-term playground for you. Your product will survive for a long period of time. So life cycle of the product. When we are doing pricing of a product, every product has got a shelf life. How long it is going to survive in the market. It will survive for a few years, 5 years, 10 years. After that, it will become outdated. Until and unless you reintroduce the product by rebranding the product, by repackaging the product. This product washing powder surf. This washing powder surf was there when I was a child. When I was a child, it was right from that period of time. When the company was Hindustan Lever Limited, now it has become Hindustan Unilever Limited. But surf is there now also. And every 2 years, every 3 years, they are rebranding, they are repackaging, they are reintroducing surf in a new way. So product has survived. Product has survived. Parley biscuits were there even when I was a child. Parley biscuits were there even when I was a child. But now they have rebranded it, repackaged it, they have reintroduced it. So you have to know what is the life cycle of a product. The product may be having a life cycle of 5 years, or a product may be having a life cycle of 10 years. So over that particular period of time, you have to know that your expenditure is going to be incurred. But not all types of expenditure will be incurred throughout the life cycle. For example, market survey, research and development. Okay, this will be the cost incurred at the starting of the product, at the beginning of the product. But as the product develops, you will not incur your research and development cost every time. Then it will be normal advertisement expenditure. Even at the introduction or launching of a product, the advertisement expenditure will be very high. But after that, every year you don't incur that much amount of advertisement expenditure. Your advertisement expenditure will come down. Your marketing expenses will come down. But your revenue will continue growing because now consumer is aware of your product. He is aware of the quality. Okay, so life cycle of a product. Now, this particular life cycle, which may be a period of 8 years, 10 years, 5 years, can be classified into 4 identifiable phases. Phase 1, introduction phase. Phase 2, growth. Phase 3, maturity. And phase 4, decline. You can call them as phase, or you can call them as stages. Stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. What happens to the sales? Let us see. We'll come to your material that is given to you, your PDF file. Now, if you see here, we have got the stages in the product life cycle. Introduction stage, growth stage, maturity stage, and decline stage. What happens to sales volume in the initial stages? New product. You are just launching in the market. Are the customers aware? No, the customers are not aware. So the sales will be very low. It may not be that high as you expect it to be. In the growth stage, once you are introducing the product and the product is slowly purchased by customers, they find that you are having a good quality product. Then they start buying the product. They tell their friends, they tell their neighbors, they tell their relatives. Sales start increasing, multiplying. So increase in sales in the growth stage at an increasing rate. Then what happens? Comes to maturity stage. That now almost you have covered all the market, entire market has been covered. All your consumers are aware of the product. All those who want to buy from your company that particular product, they are buying. So now sales becomes more or less constant. And even if it increases, it will increase at a decreasing rate. So the growth stage, the increase is an increasing rate. In the maturity stage, the increase is at a decreasing rate. And then when finally, people have continuously bought your product over and over again, they find that features are not changing. Same old product, they get bored. And then slowly consumers start decreasing and the sales level falls off. That is a decline stage. So we have the initial stages where the introduction stages where the sales will be very slow. Growth stage where the sales are increasing at an increasing rate. Maturity stage where the sales are increasing at a decreasing rate. And decline stage where the sales are going to decrease, fall. Price of the product, if I'm talking about. If I know the total life cycle period of the product, that it is 5 years or 8 years, and I've planned for that, what I will do is, and my product is also a new product, which is not known to anybody in the market. Like for example, when the Samsung tablet or the Samsung tabs were introduced in the market for the first time, when iPads came into the market for the first time, what is the cost of that? That was very high. That was very high. Why? Because consumers were not aware. There was no competition. Product was new, technology was new. So I could afford, the manufacturer could afford to charge a very high price. Now, charging a very high price, what is the logic behind that? Because I have incurred a lot of expenses on research and development, on promotional expenses, advertisement. I have to recover that now. So initially, I will charge a very high price. Then as I expand my market, and as more and more consumers start buying my product, I slowly reduce my price. Because at the same time, what happens is, more and more suppliers enter the market. There is competition in the market. And as a result of that, since more suppliers are there, I have to reduce my price. So in the initial stages, introduction stage, it is very high. We have a method of pricing. We'll come to that also. There is a method of pricing called as price skimming. And there is penetration pricing. So different methods of pricing also are there. We'll discuss all these things. Because at the professional level, we have to know all these concepts. So, I say that. Initial stage, very high price. Then, I try to maintain whatever price I've charged. In certain cases, I will try to, if more and more people are entering the market, I will try to slowly reduce the price. In the maturity stage, I will have to reduce the price. I will have to reduce the price further because there are more suppliers in the market. There is more competition in the market. And in the decline stage, I may have to sell cost to cost also. But I look at the entire life cycle. And in the entire life cycle, if I have recovered a large amount of my profit in the initial years itself, I don't mind selling at cost to cost also in the declining stage. Correct? Then we have ratio of promotional expenses to sales. Advertisement expense, promotional expenses. Free samples given. Buy one, get one free. Offers are given. That is the highest in the introduction stage. Highest in the introduction stage. After that, normal operating expenses will be more or less the same. your promotional expenses die down. When you reach the maturity stage, you have only the operational expenses, the R&D expenses are not there. So R&D expenses, promotional expenses are very less. And the declining stage, hardly anything is there. Competition, as you are starting, no competition. But as product is known, other manufacturers see some profit. Entry into your industry is very easy, does not require large amount of capital investment. More suppliers, more manufacturers will enter the market. Correct? So competition increases in the second stage. In the third stage, that is maturity stage, that is severe competition. Lot of manufacturers, lot of suppliers. So your product becomes one amongst the several products. And then finally, there is a withdrawal of the product. Competition starts disappearing. So how the graph is there? This is the graph of your product life cycle. So any question on product life cycle? Best thing is draw the graph first. You may not need to explain the graph also, but draw the graph and keep. Write their product life cycle graph. And draw this introduction stage, growth stage. Now introduction stage, how you see? You don't draw the introduction stage like this. It is always flat. It should never increase. It should always be flat. Gradual. And then in that growth stage, you can show upward going. In growth stage, you don't show like this. You show this way. This is the correct one. Introduction stage, this is the correct one. This is the wrong one. Introduction, it is more or less flat. Growth, it is steep. Then when it comes to the maturity stage, it is more or less flat. Now COVID curve is flattening out. COVID curve was like this one. And then finally, the COVID curve will come down. So the PLCC will also come down. Decline stage. Okay, so this is the PLCC curve. Now, in the examination, they ask you sometimes very simple questions, and sometimes they ask you case study type of questions, where, in the examination, since it's a professional level exam, you can be asked one of the toughest questions also. So we should prepare ourselves, not only for easy questions, because we can handle the easy questions. We have to prepare ourselves more for the tough questions. We have to prepare ourselves mentally for the tough questions. And these tough questions should be solved as soon as possible. That means within the time limit, because we don't have 3 hours for one question. So in the 3 hours, we have to attempt several questions. So we don't have the entire 3 hours for attempting one case study or one question. So it becomes important that we understand that there is a time limitation. So our concepts have to be, that is why our concepts have to be rock hard, so that we can apply the concepts and get through with the questions. My SCMP lectures are also going on. Strategic cost management lectures are also going on for CA final students. Morning I have their lecture, evening I have your lecture. What I tell them also at CA final is that, strategic cost management, costing is a very boring subject to teach also, and to correct papers also, and for a student to learn also. So when you're writing the examination papers, if all the students write the same old thing, definition of strategic cost management, they write according to so and so, strategic cost management is defined as, it becomes so boring to read the papers also. You just go on putting the tick marks. But somebody writes meaning of strategy. This is strategy, strategy defined, cost management defined. No, I will have interest in reading that paper. So you should do something different. Today I was doing TQM in the morning lecture, total quality management. I asked the students, what is total quality management? They said quality management for the total life cycle of the product. I said, what nonsense. You don't know total quality management, that means. And there were students who had done this total quality management. They were coming for my lecture for the second time. They had done it elsewhere. They said, sir, we have been taught like this. I said, that is wrong. And like in the yesterday's lecture, I broke up that strategic cost management into three parts. I broke up that concept of total quality management into three words. Total quality management. What is the meaning of total? What is the meaning of quality? What is the meaning of management? And students were very, this also can be interpretation. I said, yes, this is the interpretation that you have to write in the examination. You have to make your answers interesting. Don't give the examiner the same old, definitions by hearting the definitions. So today what we are going to do is, as the starting point of our practical part, I'm going to take up a question which is more of in the format of a case study. It will take much time to solve that question, and that is the only question that I'm going to do today. That is the only question I'm going to do today. And as we complete the question, whatever time it takes, you stop the lecture. Okay? So if you can complete it in 5 minutes, we'll wind up the lecture in 5 minutes. If you can complete the lecture, if you can complete the answer in 15 minutes, we'll wind up the lecture in 15 minutes. And if you require 1.5 hours to solve the problem, then we'll sit for 1.5 hours to solve the question. Okay? So let us come to page number 12 of your book. Page number 12 of your book. Question number 1. Excellent question, this is. PDF format is given. So I expect you to have the PDF format on your mobile phones, so that when we are solving, the data is there before you, because I can't have the data and solve the question at the same time. So we'll read the question, we'll go through the question, and then as we are solving the question, you should have the data with you on your mobile phone. So what we'll do is, first we'll go through the entire question, because question is a little bit difficult to understand in the beginning at the first instance. And as I told you, it is like a case study. So we have to read it very carefully. We have to know what is the data given, what is going to be required by us. We can read the question twice also, no problem. Okay? Because we have to understand what we are doing. Bharat Electrical Limited launches a deluxe type Walkman in the market. The market research study reveals that a demand of 20,000 units per month of such a Walkman thus launched exists. What is a Walkman? It is nothing but like it is a small transistor form of thing, which you can plug in the earplugs and put it, and you can put some cassette into it. In the olden days, it was like that. You can put some. Now you are having iPods, which don't require any cassettes. But in the olden days, we had the Walkman system, where a cassette used to come, and that cassette was put into that Walkman, and you could plug it into your ears, put the Walkman into your pocket, and go for walking, etc. So 20,000. The demand is of 20,000. The total demand is of 20,000 units per month of such Walkman. Variable cost per unit of it is 640 rupees. 640 rupees variable cost. And the total fixed overheads is rupees 20 lakhs per month. To variable cost 640, fixed overhead 20 lakhs per month. Okay. Selling price is 125% of variable cost. 125% of variable cost. Selling price. What is variable cost 640? 125% of this, 800. So here the selling price is 800. Selling price is 125% of the variable cost. So selling price is 800. Company adopts a policy of penetrating pricing. Penetrative pricing. I will charge the dirtiest price, the cheapest price, because I want to penetrate the market. Like Jio, Reliance Jio, everything free. You pay only deposit 2,000, enjoy life. So, penetration market, penetration pricing policy. Demand of the Walkman per month is given by the equation. This equation is important. Q1 is equal to 2000 T1 minus 50 T1 square, where Q is the demand in units. T is the time in months from its production. So that means first month if I'm having, it will be 2000 into 1 minus 50 into 1. So 2000 minus 50, 1950. Second month, it will be 2000 into 2, 4000 minus 50 into 2 square, 4. 50 into 4, 200. So 4000 minus 200 is equal to 3800. So like this, my quantity will be calculated every month. Okay? Where Q is the demand and T is the time. When 50% of the market has been penetrated, total demand 20,000. When 50% of the market is penetrated, that means when I am able to sell 10,000 units or 10,000 Walkmans, then the company changes its pricing policy to 150% of variable cost. So 640 into 150%. The selling price is 960. Selling price is 960. Till it captures the whole market, till it manufactures and it is able to sell 20,000 units. Correct? The profit earned during the maturity stage, profit is 33 crores given to us. Profit during the maturity stage, 33 crores is given to us. It is a very, very, very interesting case. Very, very interesting problem. Full of calculations. So let us try to understand this like a story. Company BEL, Bharat Electrical Limited, wants to sell Walkmans. Market demand is 20,000. It says we can try to satisfy that demand. Variable cost is 640. Initially it says selling price will keep as 125% of variable cost, 800. After we reach and we capture 50% of the market, that means the demand crosses 10,000. Then I will increase my selling price to 960. Okay, that is a growth stage. When I reach the maturity stage, the profit is going to be 33 crores. Then what? Then there is a twist in the story. Okay, competitor Sharad Electricals Limited, SCL, then enters into the market with something called as People's Brand Walkman. People's Brand Walkman. What we are selling? Deluxe type Walkman. What is the name of our model? Deluxe type. What is the new manufacturer saying? That he is coming out with People's Brand Walkman. So it is more luring the public that, hey, this is a Walkman of my time. People's Brand. And that demand function of that particular Walkman is Q2 is equal to 2500 T2 minus 30 T2 square, where Q is the demand and T is the time. So now when we calculate 1 month, the first month, it will be 2500 into 1 minus 30 into 1 square, that is 30. So 2500 minus 30, 2470. Second month, it will be 2500 into 2 T2 will be 2. So 2500 into 2, that is 5000. 2 square is 4. 4 into 30 is 120. So 5000 minus 120. So like that, we'll calculate the demand of that particular company's products. When it is introduced in the market, the demand in the market rises to 21,500 units per month. Originally, it was how much? 20,000 units. The total market demand was 20,000. Now, as the new competitor enters the market, the demand increases from 20,000 to 21,500 per month. Deluxe reduces its price to 880. Arey, we had started with 800. Then we increased to 960. We made profit because nobody was there. We increased the price, 916. Now competitor has come. So now I have to now reduce my price from 960. I bring it down to 880 to combat the price of people's brand at 880. Why? Because my competitor is selling at 880. If I sell at 960, who's going to buy? So I reduce my price. When people's brand is introduced, the demand for deluxe reduces. Obviously. Competitor is there. So some people will buy, out of those who are buying 21,500 units, some people will buy that product, some people will buy my product. So my product's demand is affected. It will come down. The total demand remaining the same. That means 21,500 is the total demand. Total demand remains the same. But my share is going now to my competitor. My share is going now to the competitor. When the sale of deluxe, my product, drops around 1,500 units, that means I was selling 20,000 units. But now it has come down, and it will come down to 1,500 units. Then BL discards the product. Product dies. I dispose it off. I stop selling. I stop manufacturing. Okay? Question asked. Determine the product life cycle of deluxe. First, product life cycle. How many years? How many years? Second, total contribution earned by deluxe over the entire life cycle and at each stage. Over the entire life cycle and at each stage. Okay. Third, total sales of deluxe. Total sales, not sales for the first year, not sales for the first period. Total sales for the entire period, entire life cycle. So I do not know what is the life cycle. This is the case study. You have to find out the number of months, the number of years that the product deluxe is going to last. Second, you have to, over that period of time, calculate the total contribution that Bharat Electrical Limited BEL earns over the life cycle of the product. And third, you have to tell me what is the sales for the entire life cycle of the product. Okay. So, are we ready now to solve the question? Let us see. What you will do is, you will prepare a statement like this. PLC stage and month, quantity demanded, contribution per unit, and total cost. And you will do this statement format for 2 pages. 2 pages means 2 sides because it's going to be lengthy. I told you I'm going to do only one question now. Only one question I'm going to do. Prepare the format. Keep your calculators ready because a lot of calculation has to be done. Shall we start? Okay. Everybody is ready? Fine. What I do is, first is introduction stage. First is introduction stage. So under PLC, I write here introduction. Handwriting is bad. Introduction stage. Introduction stage. Or even if you write only introduction, it is okay. Because introduction stage will be there, growth stage will be there. Okay? Introduction stage. Month number 1. Month number 1. What is the equation? Equation is Q, that is Q1, is equal to 2000 T1, okay, minus 50 T1 square. This is your equation. What is T over here? 1. What is T? 1. Substitute. So it becomes 2000. It becomes 2000 into 1 minus 50 into 1 square. What is 1 square? 1. So 2000 minus 50 is equal to 1950 units. Correct? Now, contribution per unit. Contribution per unit. Selling price 800. Okay. What is the selling price as of now? It is 800. What is variable cost? 640. So what is contribution per unit? 800 minus 640. So at 160. 160 into 1950. 160 into 1950. 3,12,000. Those who are having calculators, please check with your calculators. Those who don't have calculators will copy it up. Don't have any option. You have to believe me. Second month. Second month. T is 2 now. Huh? So 2000 into 2 minus 50 into 2 square. 2 square is what? 4. 2000 into 4000. 50 into 4. 200. 4000 minus 200. 3,800 units. Contribution remains 160. 3,800 into 160. 6,08,000. Month number 3. Third one. 2000 into 3. minus 50 into 9. 3 square 9. 5,550 units. Please check. 5,550 units. Contribution remains 160. Multiply. 8,88,000. 8,88,000. Month number 4. So it will be 2,000 into 4 minus 50 into 4 square is 16. So that will give me 7,200 units. 160 contribution. 7,200 into 160. 11,52,000. Month number 5. 2,000 into 5 minus 50 into 25. 8,750 units. Contribution is 160 per unit. Eight thousand 750 into 160. 14 lakhs. Month number 6. 2,000 into 6 minus 50 into 6 square, that is 36. 10,200 units. 160. 16,32,000. 16,32,000. Stop now. What has happened? Sir, we have touched 50% of the market. 20,000 demand, 50% is 10,000. We have crossed 10,200 now. So we have touched 50% of the market. What does the problem say? That if I cross 50% of the market, if I capture 50% of the market, then from that day onwards, my selling price is going to be 960. After this. So this is an introduction stage where I sell at a lower price. So I sold at a lower price of 800 rupees. Till this stage. Till this stage, let us see what is the contribution. Take the total. It comes to 59 lakhs 92,000. 59 lakhs 92,000. So that is the end of my introduction stage. That is the end of my introduction stage. Now what is the next stage? Growth stage. So here I write growth stage. Equation remains the same, huh? Equation remains the same. This is my equation. But now selling price is going to change. The contribution will change. What is the new selling price now? New selling price is 960, sir. But What is variable cost? It will remain same, sir. So what is contribution then? It is going to be 320. Correct? Yes or no? Correct now? Fine. Now, month number 7, month continues. Month number 7. 2000 into 7, 2000 into 7 minus 50 into 7 square, 49. 11,550 units. 11,550 units. Now contribution is 320. Huh? Contribution is 320. Multiply. 36 lakhs 96,000. 36 lakhs 96,000. Okay. Month number 7. No, sorry. Month number 8. 2000 into 8 minus 50 into 64 is equal to 12,800 units. Multiply by 320. 40 lakh 96,000. Month number 9. Month number 9. 2000 into 9 minus 50 into 81. 13,950 units. 320. 13,950 into 320. 44 lakh 64,000. 44 lakh 64,000. Month number 10. 2000 into 10 minus 15 to 10 square, that is 100. 2000 minus 2000 into 10 is 20. 20 minus 5 is 15,000 units. 320 contribution. Multiply 48 lakhs. Month number 11. 2000 into 11 minus 50 into 11 square, 121. 15,950 units into 320. 51 lakh 4,000. 51 lakh 4,000. 12th. 2000 into 12 minus 50 into 12 square is 144. 16,800 units. 320 contribution. Multiply 53 lakh 76,000. Month number 13. 2000 into 13 minus 50 into 13 square is 169. 17,550 units. at 320. 56 lakh 16,000. Tired. But we have not reached even half the problem. Thirteenth one we have come to. I'll go to the next slide. I'll continue on the next slide. 14th month. 2000 into 14 minus 50 into 14 square. That is 196. 18,200 units. 320 contribution. 58 lakh 24,000. Month number 15. Month number 15. 2000 into 15 minus 15 into 225 is 18,750 units. At 320 contribution. 60 lakhs. 60 lakhs. Those who are having calculators, please check with your calculators. 16th month. 2000 into 16 minus 15 into 256. 16 square is 256. 32,000 minus 19,200 units. At 320. 61 lakh 44,000. 61 lakh 44,000. 17th month. 2000 into 17 minus 15 into 289. 19,550 units. At 320. 62 lakh 56,000. Month number 18. 2000 into 18 minus 50 into 324. 19,800 units. At 320 contribution. 63 lakh 36,000. Okay. 19th month. 2000 into 19 minus 50 into 19 square is 361. 19,950 units at 320. 63,84,000. Got it? 63,84,000. What do you find now? Don't go on calculating. Have an eye on the number of units. 19,950. Obviously, now I have captured the entire market because market demand was around 20,000. I'm just 50 short of it. I can assume that I've captured the market. Selling price is going to remain 960 till I am able to capture the market. So I stop here with this calculation. I don't stop the problem. Problem is not over. We have just completed half the problem. Remaining half is still there. I told you now. If we are going to solve it in 15 minutes, we'll solve it in 15 minutes and stop the lecture. But if it takes 1.5 hours, I will solve it for 1.5 hours, then we'll stop the lecture. What do you think? It will solve in 15 minutes? No, no. Then why did I schedule a 2 hours lecture? I'm smart. Now, take the total at this level. Only this period, huh? Don't add the earlier figures. Only this period. Growth stage. They are calculating contribution stage wise. 3696 plus 4096 plus 4464 plus 4800, 51 lakh 4, 5376, 5616, 5824, 60 lakh, 6144, 6256. 6336, 6384. Total comes to 7 crore 96 lakhs. Just check. Sorry, 7 crore 96,000. 7 crore 96,000. Now comes maturity stage. So right here, maturity stage. Year number 20. 2000 into 20 minus 50 into 400. So 2000 into 20 is 40,000. 40,000 minus 20,000 is 20,000 units. Now, sorry, 20,000 units. Now what has happened? I've touched the entire demand. Entire demand is touched. So contribution is going to be 320. Still here. Amount is going to be 20,000 into 320, that is 64 lakhs. From here starts the maturity stage. Now, how many months that maturity stage is going to last? I don't know, but I can calculate because they have given me the total profit for the maturity period as 33 crores. Total profit for the maturity period is 33 crores. So I will calculate the number of months. Okay, I will calculate the number of months. Now, how do I do that? See, 33 crores is the profit for the entire maturity period. For 1 month, the contribution is 64 lakhs. Listen to what I'm saying. For 1 month, the contribution is 64 lakhs. And for 1 month, the total fixed overheads is given to me in the question as 20 lakhs. 64 lakhs is contribution and the fixed cost is 20 lakhs. So profit is equal to what? Contribution minus fixed cost. So 64 lakhs minus 40 lakhs. Minus 20 lakhs. 64 lakhs contribution minus fixed cost 20 lakhs is my profit for the month. Is the profit for the month. Because for the 20th month, the contribution is 64 lakhs. And for that month, the fixed cost is 20 lakhs. So profit per month comes to 44 lakhs. Total profit over the maturity period is 33 crores. So what do I do? Number of months, I write here. Number of months during maturity stage is equal to 33 crores. Take care of your zeros. Divided by 64 lakhs minus 20 lakhs. 64 lakhs minus 20 lakhs. 33 crores divided by 44 lakhs. $75 months. I suppose you got this calculation. 33 crores is the total profit for the maturity period. I do not know how much is the maturity period, but I know the profit per month. Because contribution is 64 lakhs for the 20th month from where the maturity stage is starting. Fixed cost is given to me as 20 lakhs per month. So 64 minus 20, 44 lakhs is the profit per month. So 33 crores is the total profit divided by profit per month, 44 lakhs. So it comes to 75 months. It comes to 75 months. Now what I do is, the final students are supposed to be tough students. That means whatever is the calculation, you should be able to do it. And there is nothing difficult here yet. I mean, it is only the lengthy calculations which are there. It is nothing difficult. I'm not doing some great calculations. Calculations are very simple, but it is lengthy, fine. Once you know how to do it, it will go fast. Why I'm going slow? Because you have to get accustomed to it. In the exam, now once you know this type of problem, if I give you another question of this type, you will be able to solve it within half an hour. Here we are taking more time because we are doing it for the first time. So we have to be careful about certain things. I have to tell you certain things. You have to observe certain things. So once you know how to solve, you will be in that particular mode only, and you will be able to solve the same problem. Second time when you sit to solve this problem, I'm telling you, you can solve it in half an hour. because calculations will then go very fast. You know how to do it. Okay, this is the maturity stage. Now I continue with the next stage. That is called as decline stage. Decline stage. 75 plus 20, 95th month. 95th month. But problem is going to arise now. Problem is going to arise. What is the problem? Because after maturity is, after the growth period is there and the maturity period is over, then my decline starts. Why? Because now new competitors come. Sharad Electricals has come. They are having their demand. So my demand, if I'm going to calculate, up till now I was the only player in the market. So I calculated my Q equation and I calculated the value, put the value of T over there, calculated my demand. But now it is not going to work like that. Now what is going to happen? Now I will be calculating the demand. I will be calculating the demand of my competitor first. Demand of my competitor first. And from the total new demand, what is the new demand? 21,500, not 20,000 now. The new competitor comes. Look in your question. 21,500. I have underlined that. So whatever is the new demand of the new customer, that is new seller, minus that from 21,500 is the demand that my company's products will have. So if I calculate Sharad Electricals demand and I find that the demand is 2,500. So from 21,500 I will minus 2,500, 19,000 is the demand for my product. Suppose I find that demand for Sharad Electricals, my competitor is 5,000. So from 21,500 I minus 5,000. 16,000 is, so 16,500 will be my demand. Followed? So now what I'm going to calculate, is I'm going to calculate Sharad Electricals demand, which is given by Q is equal to, what is the formula? 2,500 T minus 30 T square. What is my selling price going to be? 880. And from 880, when I minus my variable cost of 640, contribution comes to 240. Selling price is 880. Variable cost is 640. Variable cost is not changing. So contribution is 240. So now this 95, I will substitute in this equation, my competitor's equation. Correct? Month number 95. But will you say 2,500 into 95 minus 30 into 95 square? 95 is month for me. It is not for my competitor. For my competitor, what is a month? It is his first month. So we are calculating demand of competitor now. So don't multiply by 95. For him, the 95th month for us is his first month. Our 95th month is his first month. He has just entered the market. We are already there for the last 94 months. It's our 95th month. For him, it is the first month. So for him, it is 1. So it is 2,500 into 1 minus 30 into 1 square. So 2,500 minus 30, 2,470. From 21,500 minus 2,470. From 21,500 minus 2,470. How much will you get? You'll get 19,030. I'm doing this only for the first time. Huh? After that, you have to do directly. 21,500 minus 2,470 will give you 19,030. And what is my contribution now? 240. Now multiply 19,030 into 240. 45,67,200. Month number 96 for us. For him, it is month number 2. So it is 2,500 into 2 minus 30 into 4. That is 4,880. 21,500 minus 4,880. So my quantity is 16,620. My quantity is 16,620 into 240. Into 240. So it is 39,88,800. $39,88,800. Month number 97. 2,500 into 3 minus 30 into 9. 7,230. 21,500 minus 7,230 is 14,270 into 240 is 34,24,800. 34 lakhs, 24,800. 98. 2,500 into 4 minus 30 into 16. That comes to 9,520. My quantity 21,500 minus 9,520. 11,980 into 240. 28,75,200. Month number 99. For him, it is month number 5. Minus 30 into 25. 11,750. Minus 21,500. 9,250. Sorry, 9,750. 9,750 into 240. 23,40,000. So you can see that because of competition, my profit, my contribution is coming down. Month number 100. 25 into 2,500 into 6 minus 30 into 36. 13,920. 7,580 into 240. 7,580 into 240. 18,19,200. Month number 101. 2,500 into 7 minus 30 into 49. 16,030. 5,470 into 240. 13,12,800. Month number 102. 2,500 into 8 minus 30 into 64. 18,080 minus from that 21,500. So my quantity is 3,420. I'll continue to sell till it drops to 1,500 into 240. 8,20,800. 103. 2,500 into 9 minus 30 into 81. 19,070. Sorry. 19,070. Correct, huh?
20,070, sir.
One second. Yeah, 20,070. Minus 21,500. 1,430 into 240. 3,43,200. Now what do you see? It has come below 1,500. We have said that after 1,500 I'm going to stop. I'm going to stop production. Entire thing will come to an end. It is a declining stage. So now I take total of this contribution that I've earned in the last stage.
Sir, 2 crores 14 lakhs 92,000.
Excellent. In the lectures now, those who are there till the last are the ones who survive. They are the strongest and the fittest. Two crore 14 lakh 92,000. Now see, that means it is 103 months. 103 months. So I can say that life cycle of the product is 103 months. So tell me how many years and how many months? 7 12s are 84, 9 12s are 8 12s are 96. 96, 4 and 3, 7. 8 years, 7 months. 8 years and 7 months.
Sir, is the total correct? Huh?
Total?
I had just 1,69,24,800.
Last one.
Total is correct.
Total is correct.
Correct only.
Yes, sir.
Total is correct. 45 lakh 67 39 lakh 88 800 34 lakh 24 800 28 lakh 75,200 23 lakh 40 18 lakh 19,200 13 lakh 12,800 8 lakh 20,800 343 200. Total is correct. 2 crore 14 lakh 90.
I think 8 is 5 months. Sir. That is
Final.
8 years, 5 months. 5, 6, no.
8 years 5 months.
5.
8 12 is 96 year. 103 minus 96.
Yeah.
It happens that we solve the greatest calculations and then we make mistakes in addition subtraction. Because we are now final students, we don't care for addition subtraction. We care only for big calculations. Okay, so that is the first part. Now the things that I have to do second and third part now. Total contribution and total sales. Total contribution, total sales. So prepare a statement like this. Stages, months, contribution, sales quantity, amount. Stages means you write the names of the stages. Months means you write number of months in each stage. Contribution, you will be writing the totals that you have calculated up till now. For each stage, you will write the stage-wise contribution totals. Sales quantity you will write. And then the sales value, the total amount of sales. So prepare a statement like this. Now problem is literally coming to an end. Hardly any time is there. All the data that we have collected, we have to put it here. So I write first one. Introduction stage. So now tell me, go to your statement at the beginning and tell me how many months were there in the introduction stage. 6 months. 6 months. And your total contribution there was 59,92,000. 59,92,000. Acha, now do one thing. Quantity demanded na, in that introduction stage, we have written 1,950, 1,800 units. Take the total of the quantity now. Sales quantity. Quantity demanded in the introduction stage. 1,950 plus 3,800 plus 5,550. Take those totals and tell me what is the sales quantity.
$37,450.
Okay. 37,450. Now, at that stage, what was the selling price? 800.
Selling price 800.
So multiply now 37,450 multiply by
8 to 8. 2 crores 99 lakh 60,000.
Yeah. So write that in the amount column. 2 crores 99 lakh
99
60,000. So we will do second stage. Second stage is growth stage. Stage was up till the 19th month. 19 minus growth stage is
7.
up till 19th month. So 19 minus of 6,
19.
that will be 3. 13. Correct, no? 19 minus 6. Total contribution for that particular period was 7 crores 96,000. You want to calculate and tell me the quantity now.
1,79,300.
Quantity. 11,550 plus 12,800 plus 15,950. I'm getting 2,19,000.
2,19,050. Yes, sir.
So 2,19,050. Now during this growth stage, what was the selling price? 960. But 960 per unit.
21
21 2 crores.
21 crores. 21 crores.
21 crores.
21 crores 28,800.
1 crores.
Two
10
lakhs.
crores.
Lakhs
21 crores. 2 lakhs.
88,000.
88,000.
800.
Yeah.
21 crores 2 lakhs 88,000.
Yes.
Maturity stage. Here we have already calculated 75 months.
48 crores.
48 crores. What do we get this? 33 crores plus 20 lakhs multiplied by 75 months. How much is the quantity?
2,000.
Quantity is 15 lakhs, no? How do we get 15 lakhs? 20,000 units per month into 75 months. 20,000 into 75. This is still 960.
14 crore.
40 lakhs. 14 crores.
1.
144 crores.
Ah,
Zeros.
yeah.
Decline.
9 months. Total contribution we have got 2,92,000. Already take the figures in the bracket. 15,030, 16,060, 15,020. 89,556. 89,556.
880.
80.
Right now, 89,550 units. What is the price in the decline stage?
80.
880.
880. Decline stage 880. So it is
70.
88 lakhs.
78 crores, 80 lakhs, 40,000.
7.
7 crore
7.
4,000. Now take total fall column.
Distant total. More. 6 plus
This is 303 months.
103 months. 1.
7 crores. 55 lakhs. 80,000. Lakhs 46,000. 175 crores.
175
7.
crores,
90 lakhs.
52,000.
52,000. Correct? That's the problem. Huh? If it comes in the examination, 20 marks guaranteed. 20 marks guaranteed. Okay. So this was a type of question which is in the form of a case study which can be asked in the examination. Other smaller questions we'll be doing in the next lecture based on this particular topic only. And so tomorrow we continue from 4 to 6, the same cost management. Questions will be done. And we'll come across a new technique of strategic cost management, take up problems based on that also. Okay. So we stop here for today. Have a nice day. See you tomorrow.